Welcome everybody and good morning and welcome to the shed. Yeah, I'm back in the shed, but that's where you'd expect to find your man in a shed. So today I'm starting my Versus series. So I hear you asking, what, Andy, is the Versus series? So it can depend on certain things. Today I'm putting soundtracks against each other. Notably, it's the Queen soundtracks to two films that they've done a soundtrack for. In 1980, they done the soundtrack for Flash Gordon, which is a sort of sci-fi type thing. It was a bit rubbish, but hey, that was the film. The album was still pretty decent. And that's going up against their 1986 masterpiece, A Kind of Magic, which was the soundtrack to the Highlander movie. If you've not seen the Highlander movie, it's about this man, Connor MacLeod. He's immortal. He lives in New York now. He's been living for about 400 years. And it's pretty much a kick-ass movie. I like it. It was on actually over Christmas. Don't know if anyone saw it. Didn't have anything else to do. So I watched it about three times. This one's an easy one for me. It's a Versus series, which means I put one album up against the other. Well, this one is quite a easy win for me. One, I like the album better, but secondly, in the Flash Gordon album, for example, it's only got two songs where Freddie actually sings on. The rest is music, which is kind of what you get from a soundtrack. You take Star Wars, for example, you don't get much singing in there now, do you? Even though they added a little bit in Return of the Jedi for some bizarre reason. But that's Star Wars, this is Flash Gordon and the Highlander. So to start with, release dates, it was December the 8th, 1980 on EMI Records in the UK that Flash Gordon was released. It was released a little bit later in the US on the 27th of January 1981 by Elektra Records. Both the album reached number 10 in the UK and number 23 in the States. But like I say, for the casual listener, you probably all know Flash, Saviour of the Universe, and all that malarkey. So it's going up again, and it's a good way to spend, 35, 42 minutes, depending on which version of the album you're listening to. It's easy listening. You can listen to it on the car somewhere. It's great. We've all got Apple Music or iTunes. What's the other one called? Spotify. Other music downloading web pages are possibly available. I use iTunes because I do. No real reason. I got fed up with the commercials on Spotify. Didn't want to pay then. Then I got my iPad and I thought, you know what, I will get iTunes. I've got more records now, digitally, than I could ever afford on CD. That's $7.99 a month. Bonus. Can't be too bad. So the second album is A Kind of Magic, which was released in the UK on EMI Records and Capitol Records in the United States. It was released on the 2nd of June 1986 worldwide, as far as I know. So the album was the first Queen done after Live Aid, where, let's be fair, there's only one band that stole the show there, wasn't there? And that was the Mighty Queen. Afterwards, I don't know if any of you've seen Live Aid. Live Aid was massive. I was only 10 at the time, so I don't remember it too much, but I have seen it back. You can see it on YouTube. Afterwards, it was where people were told to put their money in their effing pocket. And they did. And, Live Aid went on to make a lot of money, which was great. It was their 12th studio album. For me personally, it's my favourite Queen album. I think it's got some great records on there. And it was also little snippet, little fact here. It was their first album that was recorded digitally. You think now, who doesn't record digitally? I'm out here in the shed. I'm, recording this video for you, the public, the worldwide audience that I have in my shed. And I'm doing that digitally, via Wi-Fi. Well, there wasn't really the internet back in 1986, so digital was obviously a big thing. But if you listen to their albums, it's definitely the one with the clearest sound. So, as I say, it was the first one recorded digitally. It has such hits on there as One Vision, A Kind of Magic, Who Wants to Live Forever, and my personal favourite. And it was also the theme for the Highlander movie, Princes of the Universe. Great song for me. And it was also the very last album which Queen were to promote with a concert, because sadly a year after this was when Freddie was diagnosed with AIDS, which sadly he died of, I believe, in 1992. But for me, the winner of my very first Versus series is A Kind of Magic by Queen. Also, coming up in the Versus series in the next week or so, I will be doing a Versus series, old Wembley Stadium versus the new Wembley Stadium. Which is better? That's very simple. There is an unmistakable reason why one is far better than the other. But the history of one over the other, well, the other one's got to make history before it can become the most famous stadium, which it probably is, because everyone's heard of Wembley Stadium. But when you think of Wembley Stadium, do you think of this arch, or do you think of the two towers? Do you think of, let's think, new Wembley? What's happened there? Old Wembley, I give you Live 8. I give you Queen playing live at Wembley. I give you the 1986 FA Cup final where Liverpool went on to win the double. I give you the 1966 World Cup final. Little fact for you here there. You probably worked out that I was actually thinking of the World Cup before the FA Cup. But hey, I think I filled that quite well. If I hadn't actually done this bit now, you'd probably be thinking, why is he mentioning that? He doesn't even like Liverpool. We know that from his last video. Yeah, well, never mind. But yeah, that's obviously where England won the World Cup. In 1923 was the first ever FA Cup final to be held at the old Wembley, and that was the home of the FA Cup final until it got knocked down. But anyway, that's Wembley Stadium. That's for another day. This has been the Versus series. This was Queen Soundtracks, Flash Gordon versus A Kind of Magic. For me, all day, A Kind of Magic wins, but both worth a listen to. If you don't have Apple Music, you don't have Spotify, what world are you living in, man? Get a grip. Anyway, it's nice speaking to you. Thank you. Bye.